I'm Talia Ricci. Tonight, the community in Milton comes together to support a young woman who survived a chemical attack.
She continues to amaze us every day with her attitude, her spirit.
Hundreds of people attended the fundraising event for Brady McCoy, who's expected to need lifelong support in her recovery. Plus,
they showed up like he was a criminal. They showed up to arrest him.
The siblings of a Brampton man who died during a police response to a mental health crisis are calling for change. And
I think more educational efforts are needed about what is the outcome of gambling.
Sports stars appearing in gambling ads has become a familiar sight in Ontario. We'll tell you why that may soon change. A fundraiser is underway in Milton for a woman severely injured in a chemical attack last month. Acid was thrown on Brady McCoy while she was walking down the street in March. Her attacker, a relative, was arrested and charged and remains in custody. Our Dale Manukduk joins us live now from Rad Brothers Bar. And Dale, the community is really coming together tonight.
Yeah, Talia, while most of us have felt the heat these last few days, few people have probably felt warmth the way that Brady McCoy and her family has. That's because the community of Milton has overwhelmed them with support. This fundraiser that I'm at has been going on all day long since noon. People have been filing in, cycling in and out since the noon hour. But for those who came at around 5 o'clock, they got a special surprise. Brady McCoy was here in the flesh, talking to the community that she loves and that clearly loves her back.
Hopefully this will help.
Brady McCoy's father, Dean, had to stop mid-interview as the room rose to its feet.
My daughter.
His daughter is home after 5 weeks in hospital where she's undergone multiple surgeries. Her face was burnt off in a chemical attack. She's also lost her ear and has life-altering injuries to other areas of her body.
She's determined. She knows what she looks like now. She knows her features have been altered. And she says, if people want to look, let them look. I don't care. And that's my little girl.
That girl, who was adopted from Vietnam at 5 months old, became a woman in Milton, devoting herself to helping others, and today they returned the favor.
Brady has taught our daughter swimming. She's tutored one of my daughters during COVID. So, we're close to the family, and it's you just want to help any way you can.
Aaron Spool organized an online fundraiser that's racked up over $115,000 for Brady's lifelong treatment. Today, he's helping with the in-person fundraiser where over $30,000 in prizes donated by the community is being raffled off.
We're Milton Strong. We have somebody who coined that message to everybody, and it's true. We are Milton Strong. Anytime somebody needs a hand, we're here.
Even a community this strong was in awe of Brady's strength.
I knew she was strong before, but I think that this is just further proof that she is like the strongest person ever and so positive. I mean, she's dealing with it better than we are.
In a statement shared to social media, Brady McCoy says, "My mindset has never been stronger than it has been before, and I still have all the same goals I plan to achieve once I'm out of the hospital." Brady McCoy is an educational assistant with the Halton District School Board with dreams of becoming a teacher, and she's not letting a violent, traumatic attack get in her way. And this community is going to be there the entire way through to see her achieve those dreams. We're just going to start raffling off those prizes, Talia. It's been one hell of an evening, a very festive one for Brady and her family and the community of Milton.
Thanks, Dale. The family of a mentally ill Brampton man who died while in police custody earlier this month is calling for changes to the way officers handle mental health calls. 34-year-old Peter Campbell died nearly 2 weeks ago after Peel officers apprehended him under the Mental Health Act. It was the second time this year a police interaction with the man allegedly turned violent after the family called for help. Ryan Patrick Jones has their story.
You have to live with your decisions, and I got to live with mine.
Jason Campbell is in pain as he recalls calling 911 2 weeks ago. His brother Peter, diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, began acting out inside the 9th floor apartment where they were roommates. Peter was stomping the floor, breaking things, and had injured himself.
I was panicking, started to freak out. So then I called my mom and my sister, and they were nervous as well with the whole situation that happened in February, they were reluctant to allow me to call. They just said call an ambulance.
Reluctantly, Jason called for help, pleading with dispatchers just to send paramedics because his brother needed medical attention and wasn't violent towards others. But it was Peel police officers who took the lead. Jason says police made him wait in the lobby as they entered the apartment where Peter was alone. Hours later, Jason learned his brother was dead.
They showed up like he was a criminal. They showed up to arrest him, you know what I mean? They didn't show up because somebody needed help.
Peter's death happened just 2 months after another interaction with Peel police went wrong. This video, apparently shot by a neighbor in February, appears to show him being apprehended during another mental health crisis.
Well, when the police arrived, they first walked in and began tasering him. Then after they ended up getting him out of the house, they took him to go to the front, and they threw him over the banister.
Michelle says Peter's arm was broken during the arrest, and he spent 2 weeks in the ICU.
I feel like there's an injustice for people who suffer with mental health, and I think that they deserve to be treated as anybody else would.
The Special Investigations Unit has been called in to investigate both interactions. Peel Police declined to comment on specifics while those investigations are underway. However, the force says it does have response teams where crisis workers and specially trained police officers respond to mental health calls. But those teams only operate for 12 hours a day. Meanwhile, the Campbell family's lawyer says they're planning legal action.
From our perspective, it is a wrongful death. The force here was too much and had devastating consequences. We're looking to hold people accountable for that.
The Campbell family hopes Peter's death leads to change in how police respond to mental health calls.
His name can live on for the reason why people in his condition never get treated that way again. That's the best thing we can do for him.
Ryan Patrick Jones, CBC News, Brampton.
We told you last night about the possibility of the Science Centre being relocated to the Ontario Place grounds. The massive piece of land near Don Mills in Eglinton, where the centre is located now, could become affordable housing. Tonight, we're asking area residents what they think of the idea. Lorenda Redekop has their reaction.
The Ontario Science Centre opened more than 50 years ago at Don Mills in Eglinton, bringing in an estimated 1 million visitors a year. But the hair-raising fun it's known for could be moving south to Ontario Place. This area resident, who's taken her grandchildren there, doesn't like the idea.
It's so long it's there, so everybody knows Ontario Science Centre means that's Don Mills in Eglinton. That's my choice.
Others understand why the government might want this.
It's good for their, I guess, pocketbook and for, I think they were talking about affordable housing, so it actually would work really well in this area.
This property is about much more than just the Science Centre building. It's 90 acres in total, or 34 hectares. Yesterday, the Premier said he didn't know just how much can be developed, but even if it's half of that, it would make a big difference in terms of more high-rises and also density.
Ukraine and Afghanistan, most of the immigrants from these two countries.
This community worker says the neighborhood desperately needs more supports already. She likes the idea, but says more help will be crucial if affordable housing is built here.
The most challenging for this community people are the housing and food security and ESL classes they are looking for.
That says the other plans for Ontario Place have polarized the city, including a spa and less public park space. The spa company says it can't say how long its lease with the province is, but that under the deal, the company pays to maintain the public spaces.
We see the Ontario Science Centre as a great potential neighbor for us. You know, as I said, we're trying to create a real family-friendly destination, and the Ontario Science Centre could easily be a part of that.
Ontario Place was envisioned to be.
City Councillor and mayoral candidate Josh Matlow is proposing the city-owned portion of land at Ontario Place go to the federal government, not the province. He wants it to step in and ensure the land is protected from provincial expropriation. The public can have their say on Ontario Place in consultations tomorrow. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Spots like this will soon be fixed. The city is holding its second spring pothole repair blitz tomorrow. Crews will work a 12-hour shift from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to repair as many potholes as possible. Residents driving or cycling are being told to expect minor delays and respect work zones by giving crews space to make repairs. Meteorologist Colette Kennedy joins us now for a first look at the forecast. And Colette, it certainly feels like we've been breaking some records the last couple of days.
Well, Talia, for 4 days we've been seeing records in southern Ontario for the heat, but today was the third day that happened for Pearson anyway. So the old record, 1938, that's how long it's been holding, and that new record, 26.8 degrees. So here we are once again. Now, tomorrow, I don't think we're going to capture a record because it's over 27 and we're going to be slightly cooler, but still way above seasonal. Some of the other daytime highs you can see here, Peterborough, a few days in a row, like upper 20s, some real heat there too. So a little bit of cloud cover coming into the picture. We've got the winds changing direction. Not that they're very strong, but just coming from the east. That has more of an impact around the Golden Horseshoe, where we'll see the temperature slightly cooler. Still some heat, though, into southwestern Ontario. Any showers that try to get in tomorrow, I'd expect those to kind of dry up before they can reach us. That will not be the case into Sunday, however. Overnight tonight, still in double digits. That's more indicative of a normal high for this time of year. It's actually 12, as we just had on the board a few moments ago. The high tomorrow, Talia, how about 23 degrees with a few clouds showing up in our skies.
Thanks, Colette. Could some TTC stations soon be named after big corporations? Tonight, the transit system is exploring selling naming rights to boost revenue.
Lots of opportunities here where you could find a sponsor to place a naming rights, but it's not radical, because if you look inside the City of Toronto, you've got the Intercare Centre, you've got the Beanfield Centre. Those are city assets.
Stephen Holiday adds there are many examples of this already being done around the world. He says it's a responsible thing to explore as the TTC deals with a nearly $90 million hole in its capital plan. But one city councillor telling the meeting he's not in favor of the idea. Chris Moyes says too many things in Toronto are already named after a corporation. However, the board voted to approve the motion to have staff look into the idea. The union representing Toronto's paramedics says the city is struggling to keep pace in a competitive job market. QP 416 says the service is averaging at least one job loss a week and needs to do more to keep workers. Municipal Affairs reporter Sean Jeffords explains.
Meet Charles LaBelle. He's been a frontline paramedic with Toronto EMS for the past 17 years. He says the pandemic increased the stress of the job, and that's led to burnout and resignations. At times, it's hard not to let the strain of work affect life at home.
When you get to your, proverbial Sunday night, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the next day?
You try not to think at all. You're just trying to immerse yourself into your family, take a walk with the dog or whatnot, and then trying to get back to reality. Because the thing about paramedicine is that this job is not everybody's reality. What we see and what we do is traumatic.
The rising cost of living in Toronto is also pushing people out of the field or to other GTA services where call volumes are lower and pay is about the same. He says turnover has hurt morale.
It's new faces every year, and as being somebody who's mentored quite a few paramedics over the years and see them leave, it's disheartening.
The city says Toronto EMS employs 1,500 paramedics and is the largest municipal service in Canada. It responds to 40% of the entire emergency call volume for the province. Since 2020, the city has hired 578 paramedics, but 320 have retired or left the service. Paramedic Union Chairperson Mike Merriman says those numbers tell a story.
It tells me that the working conditions are unsustainable, that the service is basically running on overtime right now.
He says better pay and retention bonuses could help address the problem.
There's not a lot of incentive to work in Toronto right now.
Durham Region recently posted for full-time and part-time paramedic jobs. Last year, York Region announced a 10-year plan to hire 344 paramedics as it anticipates growing call volumes. But Toronto isn't standing still. It's in the middle of a 5-year staffing plan of its own, attempting to add hundreds of workers. EMS Chief Bikram Chawla acknowledges the fight for talent is real, but Toronto's size gives it a competitive advantage.
They have a chance to practice those skills and get even better at them, where they may not be able to do so in other outlying or rural services.
Toronto's 5-year plan to hire more paramedics comes to an end in 2024. Tentatively, it's set to hire 80 more in that final year. But the union says it's not sure what the city is going to do to stem the flow of paramedics to other services in the GTA. Sean Jeffords, CBC News.
Don Valley North MPP Vincent Ke says he served Global News and reporter Sam Cooper with a notice of libel after they published a story tying him to possible election interference by China. Ke argues the article falsely accuses him of being deliberately harmful to Canada and says since it was published, he's been a victim of racist threats and attacks. Ke resigned from the PC caucus after the allegations surfaced. Global News says it is governed by a rigorous set of journalistic principles and is mindful of the public interest and legal responsibility of what it calls important accountability reporting. In an effort to protect minors from the lure of online gambling, the province is proposing new guidelines that would prevent sports stars and other celebrities from endorsing the companies providing those services. Greg Ross has more.
We've all seen the ads.
Every game starts at bet99.net.
Sports stars like the Leafs' Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky.
Trying to practice here, Wayne.
You need it. Endorsing the use of online gambling sites that were legalized in Ontario last year.
How do you differentiate your product from your competitors? And one way of doing it is by using celebrity endorsements or by partnering with specific sports organizations.
This marketing instructor at York University says sports stars have a lot of appeal, particularly to a younger audience.
A lot of younger sports stars who are very social media savvy may have a strong social media following. So by virtue of partnering with them, you can leverage that strong social media following to generate new users of your service.
The Ontario Alcohol and Gaming Commission is concerned that these ads may appeal to minors, which is why they are proposing a change to advertising standards for online gambling. They want to prohibit the use of athletes, active or retired, as well as cartoon figures, symbols, role models, social media influencers, celebrities and entertainers. This is not sitting well with those in the gaming industry. Paul Burns with the Canadian Gaming Association says they don't market to minors and take steps to keep them off their sites.
Minors cannot get access to gambling unless someone over the age of 19 resident account gives them that access. Because of the upfront requirements in setting up accounts that require ID, that verification.
But experts in the field of mental health and addiction say younger people are most vulnerable to gambling addiction.
Most males, anyway, who develop a gambling problem develop that problem during their adolescence. I think more educational efforts are needed about what is the outcome of gambling.
The AGCO is proposing that these changes go into effect in 3 months, which they say will give operators and suppliers sufficient time to comply. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Colette's back now with our extended forecast. And Colette, I imagine this heat won't last much longer.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been quite the week. Really enjoyable for those who've had the chance to be outdoors and really take advantage of it. If you've been working all week and now it's your weekend, it is going to be a little bit cooler, but still there'll be plenty to find reasons to really feel good when you're getting outside. The winds of change are just that the winds are turning a little more to the east. And with that, it brings in a little bit of cloud cover, but we're also seeing that the temperatures are going to be moderated a bit. They're still well above seasonal. Sunday, I've got us getting to 20 degrees, and if we get there, in fact, we will be seeing that will be 7 days in a row with a temperature of 20 degrees or warmer. So you'll see where I actually have us on Saturday and Sunday just a moment here. And then Monday, it is time for that reality check when we go back to temperatures closer to seasonal, in some cases for a day or two, a little bit below, in fact. So here, a little bit of cloud cover coming into the picture, not much, but I'd say the skies tomorrow be somewhat variable. A few thunderstorms or at least lighter showers bubbling up in Michigan. I expect those to dry up before they reach Windsor, so I'm keeping things out of the forecast there for Saturday. But into Sunday, the main line coming as the cold front is approaching us. That's when we'll see into the later afternoon that risk of getting into wet weather in southwestern Ontario. I do expect for the Golden Horseshoe on towards eastern Ontario, it holds off till quite a bit later in the day Sunday. So that gives a lot of time for dry conditions to be outdoors and enjoying the temperatures. Those temperatures overnight tonight look like this. There are a few single digits on the board there in some of those cases having to do with the lake effect. And then a look at the next 5 days. So it's 23 for Saturday, Sunday, yes, I'm pushing us to 20, in fact, just above 21. Then we get into rain, a few embedded thunderstorms possible. The wet into Monday, the temperature comes down. You'll probably certainly notice it Monday, but even more so Monday night into Tuesday, because the low gets down there closer to freezing, and the risk that we could have even a few little wet flurries in our skies, Talia.
Thanks, Colin. Finally tonight, what's your ice cream order? It was certainly a good week to enjoy the sweet treat, and we'd like to introduce you to an ice cream truck driver who's been serving up cones since 1964.
James, Uncle Jimmy Barbarutos.
You prefer Jamie?
Uncle Jimmy's.
Uncle Jimmy's.
Right here, you see it?
Right, oh, there it is, okay.
Mix vanilla and chocolate. I came to Canada '64 and I started working as an ice cream man since then. You see the good ice cream, look. See? Opa! I love my job. I raise my family, 4 kids, 2 teachers, 1 dental hygiene, and 1 TTC driver. Thank you very much. My first truck was $12,500, brand new. Now it's only the machine, $50,000. Only the machine. Spanish? Greek. He asked me when I quit, and I told him when my feet collapsed, I quit. Fresh cream, fresh milk. No powder stuff.
What's the most requested product?
Twist, 2-in-1. Chocolate and vanilla. Thank you so much. Later. Here's some more napkins, sweetie. Hello? So I'm alone now. I lost my wife. I come here. Muchas gracias. Talk to nice people. People love me. I love the people too. Merci beaucoup. Yeah, and I spend my time. If I stay home in the couch, I don't think I'm going to live long. Look at that. When you love something, you're not lazy. You're doing the right job. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Love that story. That's our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Shannon Martin has your next local newscast tomorrow night at 6. Good night.